I wanna be a billionaire. I ain't getting no sleep till I see a milli every week. I wanna be a billionaire. I ain't getting no sleep till I see a billy every week. I wanna be a billionaire. Billionaire. I wanna be a billionaire. Billionaire. How you doing? Welcome to another episode of Sleep is for Billionaires, the podcast. I am your host, Johnny Vegas. Now today, I have a very special guest on my show. This man is a real estate influencer. He's been in the business for 5 years and successfully grew his business to accumulate over $15 million in sales last year. Ladies and gentlemen, GREG EUBANKS. How you doing, sir?
Oh man, I'm doing all right.
Good to see you today,
you
man.
Did research.
Yeah, definitely, man. I gotta do my homework on people, man.
Absolutely.
I can't be out here looking crazy, man.
Absolutely.
So first of all, man, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. I'm happy to be in this nice building downtown LA. It's always a good look, a block from LA Live. With
Right.
LeBron James and the Lakers and all that energy going.
Yeah, man. It's
Feeling
definitely
good, brother.
It's definitely very exciting to be in this area, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I love it myself. So where you originally from, man?
Originally from Minnesota,
Okay.
born and raised, Midwest. I was out there for my first 24 years of my life, man. That's all I knew. Went to the University of Minnesota for college.
What'd you major?
Majored in kinesiology.
Oh,
So I
okay.
wanted to get into sports. I worked for the Timberwolves for a couple of years as an internship while I was in college. That was a great
Congrats.
experience.
Nice. While Kevin Garnett was playing?
Kevin Garnett was still there. He was
Yeah?
there for one of those years.
That's
yeah.
one of my top 5
Absolutely.
favorite basketball players of all time.
Yeah, it was a good time, but that was around the time when they were on the downslide, so they weren't doing so well. But it was still exciting.
Yeah, and Steph Marbury already had left, right?
Yeah, he was gone.
He was
at
gone
that
already?
time. This was a year right before he went to the Celtics. Kevin Garnett.
Gotcha. So
Yeah,
did you
yeah.
practice real estate out there?
I actually bought my first property when I was 20 years old, so I was on the other side.
Wow,
So
what the hell was I doing?
Yeah. I bought my first property. I was 20 years old. I got a duplex in North Minneapolis. That was my first introduction to real estate, and that's where the passion stemmed from. I was like, wow, I could do this at such an early age. Cash flowing $1,000 a month. You know,
Wow.
I'm a junior in college.
Wow.
Being someone's landlord, so it was cool.
Wow, congratulations on that. Motivated me so much, man, to like double my hustle now, because it's like at 20 I was still wild and chasing girls, partying, smoking weed, and it was just like, now if I could have been doing that at 20, oh my God, I could have been so much further ahead. But congrats to you, man. That's awesome, man. Proud of you, man.
Shout out to my mother. She got me on the right path early. She taught me about credit early. I had an over 700 credit score at that time. Back then, you could go stated, and so with my
What do you mean
great
stated?
credit, you could go stated income. So when it came
okay.
to the bank and getting a loan, instead of showing all these documentations of how much you make, you can tell them how much you made. So it was that was part of what contributed to that big crash that happened in 2007. So it was much easier to get a loan back then. So as long as you leveraged and you knew what you were doing, like you could buy multiple properties, and that's what I did back then.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. And that's great. I'm glad you gave that information, because some people don't know that you can go to the banks to fund a business venture like real estate, you know what I'm saying? But they don't know how to do it, or they feel like their credit needs to be a certain number to even qualify, and it's like, they didn't know. If I knew it was that easy, I would have got in a long time ago.
Right.
I always thought you always had to have cash on hand, you know what I'm saying, to get some property.
Oh, yeah.
But that's cool, man.
Yeah.
So what made you decide to leave Minnesota, right?
Yep,
and come to LA to pursue real estate?
Well, I had a couple of things going on. One of the biggest things is I had a 7-year relationship at that time. I was 24 years old, and that relationship ended that year. And so I was devastated. And then also at the same time, I had a corporate job where I was working at Target as a manager. And I had been there for a year and a half, and that wasn't working. And so they were getting ready to let me go. So I had both of those things, two traumatic things to me at that time. That was going on. Yeah, and I was just like, where's life going? And so, I looked up to God, and I prayed to Him, and like, man, what should I do? And I just had this big, overwhelming feeling that I needed to get out of Minnesota and go somewhere else. And just LA there was this whisper in my ear, just LA, Los Angeles, because I wanted to go to a big city. I knew that's where I felt most comfortable at, because I knew there's so much opportunities, and I just knew that big city matches my hustle.
Right.
I needed that big city hustle feel. And so Los Angeles was it. I called one of my friends that lived out here at the time. He said, come out and visit. I came out that weekend, visited him, and he told me, like, yo, if you this is what you want to do, man, you can sleep on my couch for for however long you need. And that was all I needed. I just needed someone to lend a hand to get out here. I'm like, bro, thank you for that. I was like, I'm going to call you in about 2 months. And I did that and packed my stuff up in my car and I got out here.
That's awesome, man. That's good to have close friends like that to help you out.
Absolutely.
So how long was it from when you got to your friend's couch until you got on your feet doing real estate, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I moved out here in 2010. Was living on his couch. I paid him probably $250 a month to stay on his couch. I was there for 6 months. And then at that time, that's when I finally got I got a corporate job here. That allowed me to move out, get my own place. I was working for Hershey, which was a corporate job, paid well, company car. So I thought I made it. I'm like, all right,
company car. Wow, they still do that?
Yeah, man, they had it, man. I had a Chevy. I think my first one was like Chevy Malibu, and every 2 years they switch you out. So I'm like, every 2 years I had a new vehicle.
Ooh.
And I worked with them for 5 years, so from 2010 and 2015. And that's all I needed, man. That job helped me out a lot because there's a lot of autonomy. It allowed me to do my job, but also work at my own pace, have my own hours, really.
Right.
And just move around the city and learn the city that way because I was doing territory sales. So I was doing a territory in Los Angeles calling on grocery stores. And, so I that job was what I needed at that time because it really gave me so much flexibility to ultimately got me into real estate.
Okay. So from the point that you got on your feet with this job, from what point from where you had the job to where you left it to pursue real estate?
So 2014, when I was like, I had worked at Hershey for 4 years at that time, and Hershey was trying to promote me, but in order to promote me, they had to relocate me to another city. So Indianapolis, they threw out there, they threw Hershey, Pennsylvania at me, and I don't want to go to Hershey, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I mean, you came to LA to stay.
Hershey, Pennsylvania, like, you got to think about, like, when as a kid, when you used to look at their history books, and you would look at, like, some of those old pictures, those colonial pictures of what United States looked like at the beginning when they first came here. That's what Hershey, Pennsylvania looked like. Like, it was just all this colonial open land, and I'm like, I could not, I'm a city boy, like, I couldn't do that. So I turned that down, and by turning that down, they got that notion of like, look, he's not trying to be promoted, and so they put me in this other category. It was like, yeah, we've got to figure something out with him because he's not taking any of these opportunities. And then one way or another, they ended up finding out I was doing real estate on the side. So it was like, these corporate structures, they feel any type of resistance or you taking advantage or anything. So it ended up not working out. They ended up actually letting me go. But by that time, I already had my license, and I had already been doing real estate part-time for a year. So by the time they let me go, it was actually what I needed because the job was so cush. I had this company car. I set my own hours. I could wake up at 8 o'clock and work from like 8 to 11, take a 2 or 3 hour break, then finish off the day. Like, I literally had.
You were comfortable.
Yeah, so I was real comfortable. The pay was whatever, but I was comfortable. So by them letting me go, it forced me to make a decision. Like, did I want to go into real estate full time? And that first year, me doing real estate part time, I didn't do one deal. Like, I was out there every weekend doing open houses because I was like, man, this is gonna be supplemental income.
Yeah.
Living out in a city like Los Angeles where the cost of living is this high due to the ceiling, it was like I need supplemental income. So I'm like, I'm gonna do real estate part time. The average commission is about 8 to 10 grand. So even if I do 1 to 2 deals, like, that's money in my pocket.
Right.
I'm good. First year, it was I laid a goose egg.
Man.
And it was difficult because it wasn't like I was not working.
Yeah.
Whenever I was not doing Hershey, I was doing real estate. I was out here doing open houses every single weekend, Saturday and Sunday, trying to find buyers because I knew that was how I was going to get started, was finding buyers through open houses.
Right. And how did that work for you? Like, after you got fired, and then your first year, you didn't make a deal. Like, how did you survive within that time?
It was difficult, and I had to make that decision. When Hershey let me go, I knew my income was about to be cut off right then and there. And at that time, still, I hadn't done a deal in real estate yet. I had been part-time that last year, but I hadn't did anything. So it was like, man, should I just go find another job and get paid? Like, I can find another job with working at Hershey and that being on my resume. That wasn't a problem, but it was like, that's not what I wanted anymore. Like, I wanted to do something on my own. I wanted a brand. I wanted to start a business, and that's what real estate was going to provide me, build this brand and run my own business,
right.
Essentially. So I out of faith, I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna do this. Like I had some money that was I had saved up, so I knew. But I'm looking at it like, ooh, it's gonna get tight on me if it takes me 6 months to do it. It's gonna get really, really tight on me. But I had to make that decision, and I had to bet on myself. And I think that's what a lot of people got to do. You gotta, even though you can't see that next step, like you got to, if that's your passion and you feel confident in yourself, like you gotta go do it. And that's what I did. I was like, I'm gonna just go out here and do it, man. If I fail, I'll probably have to go move back to Minnesota, probably go live with my mom or something, but like I have to do this. This is now the time. I think that separation with Hershey will cause that epiphany. Like it's time. And that's what I did. And immediately right out the gate, I ended up getting a client through open house. So it was just, it was good juices flowing and just believing in myself. And all of a sudden, these opportunities start coming where I was able to convert. And so my first year, again, I did 0 deals. And what was tough about that was I had 3 deals that were in escrow that eventually fell out. So you think about the commission on that, that was probably like 30, 35 grand that I was out of from deals not going through. So you think, it adds up, right?
One,
So it's deflating. I had a moment where I was like, I don't even know if it's for me. I don't know. And so, but again, but the great thing is you see people that came before you and you hear their struggles. And that's always been inspiring to me, is hearing people that went through struggle. That's always connected to me. And then seeing the story of them now becoming successful always resonated to me, because I'm like, all right, all these people that have been successful, all of them have this common thread of struggling. All of these people were at the bottom at one point.
Right.
And they risen. So I'm like, I'm no different. So I was actually expecting the struggle. I was expecting it to be challenging.
Yeah.
And there's this quote that I love, that I live by, is that a pessimist, sees difficulty in every opportunity, but an optimist sees opportunity in every difficulty. And that really struck a chord with me. It's just like, you got to have a certain mind frame for success. You got to look at difficulty as an opportunity. If you look at it as a negative thing, and I don't know if I'm gonna, then you're gonna continue to stay where you're at. So that's what really made the difference for me.
Now that makes perfect sense, bro. I tend to see opportunity in every difficulty also, heading in the direction I'm heading, man. But it's cool that you said that pretty much being fired was the best thing that ever happened to you. You know what I'm saying? Same here. I was stuck at a job. I was super comfortable. Money was great. It was changing my life, buying cars, buying apartments and stuff. But it was like I wasn't happy. My dreams were part-time, So once I got fired, it was like, if I don't leave now, I'm going to get another job. And I'm going to be safe. And it's like, I didn't want to be safe anymore. I needed to take that risk, And it seems like you did the same thing. It's working out for you, and that's awesome, bro. So congrats on that, man. So now, talk to me about this 15 mil. I want to hear about that. So tell me about that.
Oh, so the 15 mil.
Well, first of all, how many deals was that to accumulate?
To 15 mil, it was 22 or 23 deals that I did in the past year that equaled 15 mil.
Okay.
15 million. And I had a couple big ones that went through as well. I had a $2.4 million that closed earlier this year, and a $2 million that closed this year. So you add those, they get you to that 15 plus. And it's really quite a blessing. I'm in a structure, a real estate structure, where it allows me to thrive like that. And that's another thing you've got to look at. When I got into the real estate market, I was working with a small brokerage. There was just not a lot of opportunity out there for me to excel, or they wasn't bringing opportunities for me. So I had to really go out there and pave the ground myself. I ended up finding a brokerage that actually puts me in front of opportunities to convert like that, and that made a huge difference. So I think, the lesson in that is, whatever field anybody's in, it's important to figure out what resources are going to help you achieve your goal, because you can't do it on your own.
Right.
It's just impossible almost. Some people may, but majority of people, 90-95% of people need a resource. They need someone to lend a hand. They need mentorship. They need resources. They need leads, whatever the industry may be. And so I was very aware of that. I was really very cognizant of that, as I need a resource to help me, because I'm a younger agent in the real estate game. I was talking to you about it. Like, the average real estate agent out here is about 50 to 55 years old and have been in the industry for 20 years.
Wow.
So this me being fresh into the
How old are you?
I'm 33.
Oh, same. 33, August 12th.
So I'm fairly young, and only having my license for 4 years. I have 4 years of being experience. So comparing that and competing against those type of people, you've got to find a competitive advantage. You know, you got to figure out what your unique selling proposition is, and that's what I sat down hours and hours of thinking of. Is what is going to be my unique selling proposition? How can I create a competitive advantage where I can compete with these guys? Because it's really a Shark Tank out there when it comes to real estate.
I'm
especially
sure
in
it's super cutthroat.
Los Angeles market. It is very cutthroat. There's no loyalty. You can lose a client just like that in a flash, just from someone that can talk their butt off and be able to influence. And so you have to be on your toes at all time, and it's challenging. But to me, that's exciting because it only helps hone my skills and allows me to improve and just get better. And that's going to translate. Those transferable skills are going to translate in anything I do in life moving forward.
That's cool, man. It's cool that you embrace challenges. You know what I'm saying? Instead of running away from them, because like you said, if you run away from them, you're not gonna get to the next level.
Right.
You know, and it's
Right.
all about embracing those challenges, man. So tell me, how do you do your market research? Like, where do you look at? What's your target demographic? And then, how do you set yourself up to go close a deal?
Okay. I think it's very important you've got to take time out to understand the business that you're in. You know, you've got to understand, in order for your craft to get better, you've got to understand the ins and outs. The nuances, you know, the technical pieces of your business, and that's what I spend a lot of time doing. Is that I sit down and I understand the real estate market, because once I understand the real estate market, what's next is I've got to understand the consumer in that market, which is either a buyer or a seller, and how they're reacting to the market. You know, right now, you know, in the Los Angeles market, there's a lot of things going on, and there's a lot of statistics and data that I know. I know homes right now, 40% of homes are going through some sort of price reduction. 40%. So that means that the market is softening.
Okay.
I know that 35% of the market are first-time home buyers, so I may want to cater to them.
Right.
I know that over the last 4 to 5 years, the average sales prices went up 8 to 10% on average.
Oh wow.
This next year is probably going to only be about 2 or 3% because of the market softening.
Okay.
So there are these data points that I know that help create a story that then I know how to react.
Right.
And I know how to then, all right, so if I know 35% of home buyers are first-time home buyers, well, I need to put on some home buying classes.
Right.
You know, I need to try to, have them gravitate towards me.
Right.
And I need to be able to provide them with resources and tools, knowledge, and insight that's going to allow them to have confidence in me to when then, like, I want him as my real estate agent.
Right.
Right. So those things have definitely helped me be able to grow my business and be able to connect with people, is because when they come to me and me being able, just numbers alone, if you start speaking to somebody about numbers about your business, they're automatically going to have some credibility, like, wow, this guy knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Right. And I try to stay away from just having like surface level conversation, like, oh, real estate is good, because that's not showing them I'm the expert.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like,
everybody knows that.
Yeah, it's a great investment. It's the biggest investment you're gonna make. Everybody knows that. So I try to, every time I touch a client, I try to give them value added items. You know, if I'm giving them numbers, like in this area, we've seen a 3% price drop in a lot of these homes, and so look. If we target this area, we can negotiate. We can bring the price down on the home that you're looking at. Like it's understanding and being able to then deliver insight and numerical data that really connects with them. And so that's what I always knew I wanted to be. I wanted to always come off as an expert.
That's good.
This guy knows what he's talking about.
Right.
That's what I'm continuing to work on every day.
Yeah, it gives people more confidence and belief in you that you can help them. You know what I'm saying? Because that's pretty much what they want anyway. And
Right.
it sounds like you know that.
Right.
And you mastered on how to capture that feeling from them.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And that's what's up, man.
Right.
So, do you have a team?
You'll have a team. Not necessarily. So I am kind of a one-man band when it comes to closing homes. But
Okay.
with my brokerage, though, we do have, in a sense, I would say I do have a team when it comes to, like, I need a transaction coordinator when I'm doing the deal. When I'm showing the homes, I actually have associate agents that help me show homes. So yeah, there is an element of a team. but it's not an actual team that's helping build like revenue. Like I have buyer agents or I have seller agents that help me do business. Because right now I'm kind of a one-man band when it comes to that.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like the administrative stuff, then yeah, there's like a team that helps me close deals.
Gotcha. So where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
In the next 5 years, it's a great question. You know, I think about that one a lot too. You know, on my social media platforms, I put real estate influencer. Not a term that I don't think a lot of people have heard before. I mean,
Right.
You've heard of like
I heard of social media
yeah,
influencer.
social media influencer.
Yeah.
But I kind of coined that because I'm like, I'm going to speak that into existence, right? I want to be a real estate influencer. And what that really means to me is dominating in the real estate space is on several different channels. So being a top producer in real estate agents is right now what I'm focused on. But ultimately, I want to bring that into investing and being able to buy properties, flip properties, and being able to be successful at that. Currently right now as well, I do property management right now, and I want to be able to grow that too. So I look at it as this three-headed monster, like real estate agent, being able to close and sell deals, being a real estate investor, being able to flip deals, you know, being able to buy properties, buy and hold, and things of that nature. And then property management, based off of the properties that I'm buying and holding, being able to property manage that and create a company based off of that. So in the next 5 years, I want all three things of these things just be elevated and taken to another level. And then I can really say, like, real estate influencer for real.
Right. And then that's when you'll have a team or staff.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, to kind of operate that. Well, that's good, man. I'm glad you're focused in a higher direction, you know, so that's good. That's good. 'Cause when you said one-man band, I was like, okay, 'cause you just said you can't really do everything yourself, so it sounds like right now you're, like, multitasking, but soon, hopefully sooner, you know, that 5-year plan will come into fruition. You know, which I'm sure it will, because it sounds like you're heading in the right direction. That's good. Now, was real estate your first, like, dream? It was? Like,
was it my first dream?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't my first dream.
What was it?
As a kid?
Yeah.
As a kid, I was one of those kids that, you know, like a lot of kids, like I wanted to be an NBA basketball player.
Same.
I played basketball every single day. Like I looked up to Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan around that time was the athlete. My dad loved Michael Jordan. Every time Michael Jordan had a game on TV, that's what we were watching. I mean, my dad had Michael Jordan posters all throughout the house. He had a Michael Jordan statue. Like, he was just so Michael Jordan. And he would take us go play basketball. He'd have the Michael Jordan jersey, shorts, you know, the newest J's that were out at that time. 'Cause this is the 90s, so, you know, every year there was a new Jordan pair that came out. He had all of that, and he had a collection of Jordan. So I just fell in love with basketball around that time and just fell in love with like Michael Jordan and the greatness that he possessed and just being able to win championship after championship. And so that was my dream as a kid. Like I wanted to play basketball.
Yeah, so did you play for your school and all that stuff?
Yeah, I played to my school up until high school, and then in 10th grade I got cut. And that was devastating to me for my high school team. And that was a really good high school team. Had moved out there, you know, it was a new school for me. I moved out to the suburbs. I was in the inner city my whole life. But in my sophomore year, I moved out to the suburbs because my mom thought I was going to be a better life. But in the midst of doing that, I ended up getting cut because they didn't know who I was. I played well during that trial. I'll never forget. And all the kids around was like, yeah, you played well. But the politics of basketball, right? They already had their squad that had been with the program for years.
Yeah.
So implement me in, unless I was like the next LeBron James, they weren't going to do, right?
Right.
And so they cut me, and from there I had to like play house basketball leagues during high school, and so it was cool. I was undersized too. I was about 5'5" my senior, my sophomore year in high school. I was just a little guy. I didn't get tall until senior year, so.
Gotcha. So that kind of discouraged you from taking it to the NBA?
Yeah, that cut my dream there.
Cut my dream short.
Cut me short.
Well, obviously it doesn't seem like you have any regrets.
Yeah, no regrets. You know, I think being cut in 10th grade, you know, it created a story. You know, it created a struggle story that helped fuel me. You know, and even in basketball, I got much better after that. Like my college years, I would be at the rec center all the time playing basketball, and that's when I really got good. Like I got good enough to where I think I could have played college ball, but it never materialized, and I just grew that passion, and I still fueled me. Like I got cut from my 10th grade sophomore team.
Yeah.
Who gets cut from a sophomore team? Right? You gotta be terrible. I'm not talking about getting cut from varsity. I got cut from a sophomore team. Man.
Oh man,
that hurt.
Yeah,
and so,
it's like real estate it is.
yeah. But I always did well academically, and so, I knew I had strengths elsewhere, so it all worked out for me.
That's good, man. What do you think your strength? Well, do you know your strengths and weaknesses now, like in your field, in your real estate field?
Absolutely.
What are your weaknesses?
Ooh, what are my weaknesses? One thing I think I've worked on, and I think a lot of people, is being able to handle tough times in a way that doesn't bother you or doesn't allow people to say, hey, I can see that he's bothered. I think when I get bothered, I think it's visibly can be seen. And so in real estate, like, you have to be very professional, at all times, especially when you're working with clients. And one thing that I have a tough time, even to this day, is when someone blatantly disrespects me. Like, it's just blatant disrespect, right?
And this happened in the field.
Oh, I've had agents that try to yell at me over the phone and yell, like, all kind of stuff. When you're in like an actual real estate transaction, some of these real estate agents can just be aggressive. They can be rude. They can be disrespectful. And so I've let that get to me.
You and stuff.
Yeah, I've let that get to me. One of my managers, one of the best managers I've had, he always says, like, no deal goes with you. It always goes with your client. So you've always got to keep their best interests, and you got to keep your feelings always directed towards them. You can't let anyone get you out of your box and get you so upset that you're taking that home or anything like that. You've always got to keep it business and professional within the field. If someone's disrespecting you, you respond back to them in business in a professional way. If you're under contract, always revert back to the contract, and never let it get to you to an emotional level where you're not taking that home, where you're just
not in
upset.
control anymore. Yeah,
because I had times where I'm like, when I fight, I'm like, look, man, I'm from the inner city. You can meet me out in the parking lot. Like, you're not gonna be talking to me like this. Because real estate agents, like, again, like, they be saying some crazy things. I've had some very disrespectful things, demeaning, condescending. I've had all of those things, and so.
What's the worst you ever heard?
I mean, I've had agents, and again, they're just, you don't never know what's going on with them. I had a guy, we submitted a request for repair, so I had this buyer that wanted some certain things done with the home. And he was representing the seller. And so we give him a list of things, and he just blew up. He was like, who do you think you are? You a little young guy. You've only been in real estate for 2-3 years. Like, you need to take this and give this back to your client. We're not doing any of those things. And the way he was saying, I mean, he's yelling at me on the phone. Like, who do you think you are? Like, and I'm like, I'm always in a professional space when it comes to real estate because I treat it as like a profession, right?
As you should.
And so he's coming at me like just sideways, and just yelling at me. And I don't take anybody. My mom, my dad, nobody yells at me, especially at this point of being an adult. And so, I had to channel that and like, all right, don't. And I felt myself getting out of character because I started to bark back. Like, who do you think you're talking to? Like, like, seriously, you want to meet me somewhere? But then I had to like, well, that's not the way, because this is not in the best interest of my client. This is getting outside of real estate. This is getting somewhere else. And so,
at the moment they look at you as unprofessional, it's over.
Right. And if I did actually meet them, and they would say this, like, I gotta lose my license and all kind of different stuff. But so I had to learn, like, I had to take disrespect with the same grain of salt, because I come from a place where you get disrespected, like, yo, you got to stand up for yourself. You got to poke your chest out. Like, you're not going to do this, man. Like, what you want to do? So I come from that. And so, it's just trying to circle that back and trying to contain that, restrain myself, think in the moment, think outside of the moment, calm myself down, and just do the right thing.
Yeah.
And so I've learned that, and, still I have these moments, where people are just doing some they'll do unethical stuff. I've had, people steal clients from me. I've heard people talk bad about me, saying, do not work with him, he's terrible, and all. And I'm like, You don't even know me. So you go through all of that in real estate, and it always makes you want to like attack, you know. And I'm like, I can't do that. Like I gotta, you know, kill them with kindness, kill them with professionalism, and then
kill them with success.
I'm gonna win. Kill them with success. Yeah, but I've had some wild things happen so far. So
what are your strengths?
My strengths, you know, those are things that I definitely think about a lot. And from what people have told me, I think one of my big strengths is just my personality, having the charisma, being able to relate to people, actually listening to what people say, and then reacting based off of what they've said. So just that attention to detail of what people are looking for. And I think that's what's helped me excel in real estate, is that I retain the information that you're giving me, and then I utilize that to execute and put you in a better situation, or put you in a situation where you're going to be more successful. And so I think that's
listen.
Listening. Listening is when they talk about communication. Communication is the biggest transferable skill you can have in any field of employment, right?
Right.
And the biggest thing about communication is the ability to listen and retain the information, and then do something with that information.
Right.
And so I learned that a long time ago, about just simply just taking time out to listen. I think people are so competitive, or they always want to be able to show that they're good and they're great, that they get to talking and they get to talking and talking about themselves. When you're trying to sell someone, it ain't really about you talking, it's about you getting them to talk, listening, and then doing something with that information.
Right.
So I was taught that lesson a long time ago, and it's just like, I've got to be able to listen. And I learned that from a book, How to Win Friends, Influence People. And that book was amazing. I don't think I said the title right, but book is amazing. You know, and it taught me so many skills that I use the present day that helped me.
Yeah, no, that was a good book. They made us read it at my old sales job, How to Win Friends and Influence Others. Yeah, that was definitely inspiring. Teach you a lot. Breaks down the 80-20 rule, like you said. You know, talk 20% of the time, listen 80% of the time.
Yep.
You know, so that's definitely great.
Exactly.
So tell me, what real estate moguls do you look up to and inspire to be like or better than one day?
Some of the real estate moguls that I look up to. I think one of the guys, I just heard him speak a couple of weeks ago. His name is Josh Altman. He's on the $1 Million Listing Show for
What's
LA.
his name?
Josh Altman.
Okay.
Yeah, he's on the $1 Million Show. That's on, I believe it's HGTV, one of the big network channels. And he's been doing that. He's been on that show for probably 5, 6, 7 years. And I actually got a chance to hear him talk last month. He was at the Long Beach Expo. And it was so interesting hearing his story. Excuse me. So interesting hearing his story, because he had a very similar story. When he first started off, he didn't do 0 deals his first 6 months. You know, he got into real estate because he had been so successful on the buy side, like he was buying properties, flipping them or whatever. And he became a real estate agent thinking he was going to make all this money. And
yeah,
he actually,
where's your coffee?
yeah, I'm all right.
You got your coffee?
I don't know where it's at.
Good. All right.
So he did 0 deals his first 6 months, and then out of nowhere, out of just sheer hustle. I mean, this guy was door knocking. He was just trying to connect with any and everybody. And his big thing is he knew he wanted to do high end, and so by him wanting to do high end, he knew he had to be in circles and in spaces where the high end people were. You can't sit here and sell $1 million homes and you're living in a low income area and you just that's all you stay. You've got to go out there to those areas where these people are.
Right.
And that's what he would do. He said he would go to Beverly Hills, he would go to Malibu, he would go to these other areas and just sit in Starbucks and work from there. He would work from Starbucks. And then people would just come in. And then if someone looked like they were somebody of great stature, they seemed like they were doing well off, like he would try to go talk to him. He would give him his business card. And he said he did that, and that worked for him. He's actually able to turn a couple of those people into clients. So I just thought that was amazing. And he said he would do a lot of open houses for high-end homes. So he was just putting himself in this space to receive opportunities to convert. And so, he has a great story, and when he gets to talking, there's just so many gems that you can take from. And I actually took some of those same principles that he has, and like, all right, I'm gonna apply that to my hustle.
And it's obviously working for you.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's up, man. Have you ever heard of Jay Morrison?
Yeah. I follow Jay Morrison. I've been following Jay Morrison, I think, since like 2012, 2013.
Yeah, I'm a friend of his. We used to,
nice.
he worked together at my sales job, and he always said his name, Jay Morrison, Jay Morrison. I was like, let me look this guy up, and then I saw how he was buying and flipping homes. You know, he was, you know, his past. Now he made a better present or whatever, and he was doing this thing with the duplexes in Jersey and stuff. And I was like, oh, okay, so that's how you do it. And that's what got me into real estate, because I told you before I was interested at one point. But yeah, Jay Morrison, I look up to him a lot. There's a few others, but but that's the one that you say you look up to the most. That guy.
I think right now, because of where I want to go, I look at Josh Altman. But if I was going to say someone else, like, I have followed Jay Morrison. He's probably another one that's been on my radar for a very long time. Jay Morrison is interesting how he got started off, because he got started off with just buying multi-units. Like, he'd buy a multi-unit and he'd live in one, so he'd get like only have to pay 3 or 4% down because of he's living in one, and then he'd move out after a period of time, have it fully rented out, and then he'd go find another property, do the same thing, and then that's how he was building Monopoly. So he built it that way. And how he started to get his name out there is he had this video that went viral, World Star. I'll never forget, because that's how I first was introduced to him. Is he was on World Star. He's in the back of a Maybach talking about real estate, and buying up the blocker, hip hop, and he was from the drug dealing world, and the real estate, was in prison and bounced back and all that stuff. And so he had this story that was captivating. And I seen, like, that story was so captivating that's how he was able to grow his base and get the popularity that he has now. So I've literally watched him grow.
Yeah.
I think when he was first on Instagram, he probably had like 8,000 followers when I started following him.
Right.
And now he has probably like 240,000. So just to see his natural progression, I'm just watching him over the years. And I think that's how a lot of us have to become successful. We have to watch others, because no one is really reinventing the wheel. You can literally just watch someone and what they do, try to emulate that to your best of your abilities. Also try to add something unique, because you want to be an individual. But there's so many blueprints out there that we've just got to take the time to look at those blueprints.
Right. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Now let me ask you, and despite his presidency, do you look at Donald Trump as inspiration in the real estate world, or look up to his business practices in the real estate world?
Yeah.
Because he is a mogul in real estate.
Absolutely.
Despite all the BS surrounding his name.
Actually, Trump hasn't been somebody that I've really looked at from a real estate standpoint on my radar, and I think maybe because he gained his like popularity through real estate back in like the 90s or 80s or 90s. I think now he doesn't look so much as a real estate. He's looked at as all these other things, like businessman and the apprenticeship and all these other things. I think the way he's marketed, I think the way he's exposed, like it doesn't for me. I don't gravitate to him towards real estate. It just because of what his brand and what the marketing plan has been for him for the last 10, 20 years. Like he's in the forefront. Like he didn't have a real estate show. He had an apprentice show. So it was and just more business related versus like adding that concentration of real estate. So I don't really look at him as like someone, even though he has been very, very successful.
His name is on a lot of the buildings.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's the commercial side. He builds hotels and golf courses. So he's on a whole nother level, right? So yeah.
That's cool, man. What do you think of him as our president?
What, we talking politics?
I mean, if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I'll talk about it. I didn't vote for him, first and foremost. I think he was just too divisive. He's too divisive for me. I always want someone in leadership that knows how to bring people together. And I just think he didn't provide that. I think he was just too divisive. He was calling out too many segments of people that didn't look like him. That rubbed me the wrong way. I mean, when you think about what's going on with the community, there's good and bad. Like, I always look at things objectively. Like, I'm not going to be like he's just the worst thing ever. I try to look at things as objectively as I can. And he has brought some good to politics as far as shaking it up. You know, not being that traditional politician that people just fall for, that tells you all these things and don't back it up.
Right.
I think he's genuinely been himself. So I think I don't know what's going on with you.
It's all good. Don't worry. We're going to wrap it up soon. Get you some water.
Him genuinely being himself, that's a lesson anybody can learn. Like, if you genuinely be yourself, there's no level to what heights that can be taken. And I think he's genuinely himself. I think he does get a bad rap in regards to, like, I just think he's himself. And I think he's, you know, he cares about himself and his own agenda. I think sometimes people get that confused when he hates these people, he hates these. I think he's just like, if you rock with him, he's going to rock with you. But if you want the moment you go against him, and I think that's always been his personality.
Yeah.
So I think people get that confused sometimes. Like, he's this, he's that, he's a bigot, he's that. I think he's just all for himself. He's just self-centered, and it just comes off like that. But, you know, as far as his presidency, like, I'm just, you know, praying that we get through this term and, you know, nothing catastrophic happens to the economy or the country.
Yeah. Well, as they say, and this too shall pass. You know, man.
For real.
So, when you retire, what do you want to have accomplished in real estate?
I think...
or life in itself as well.
In general? I think a lot of people think about, like, just legacy. Like, what is my legacy? What can I leave to my children, my offspring, that's going to allow them to capitalize on and help them be in a much better place starting off in life. I think a lot of us, you know, we grew up not having much. We didn't have inheritance. We wasn't a trust fund baby. We didn't have any of those things. But I really want to leave something to my kids responsibly. You know, not just give them something, because I think whenever you give somebody something and they didn't work for it, there's no appreciation there. Right. A lot of the times, they don't know what to do with it and they lose it. I remember looking at the statistic on in real estate where when a parent dies or whoever has a home and they die and they pass it on to their kids, it was like a high percentage. It was like 60 or 70% of them end up losing the property. Like, they don't do the correct thing to continue to build that wealth. And it's because they probably never had that responsibility to that level, or again, it was just handed to them, so they don't really appreciate it.
Right.
When you work hard for something and then you're rewarded for it, there's appreciation of what that reward is. And so I think, you know, when I retire, my whole thing is just a legacy that I can, you know, when I have kids, is to pass on to them, but also instill in them the leadership, the responsibility, the ambition, instill those things into them so that they continue to take that to an even higher level. And that's my big thing.
That's what's up, man. You have children now?
No kids yet.
Same.
No
I got a
kids
dog.
yet?
Nah, just a dog.
You working on it?
You
working on it?
Not yet. You know what I'm saying? I got a lot.
33, man.
I know, man. I know. I was thinking about that too.
Man, though. So I mean, you know, you got Jay-Z having kids at 47, whatever.
Yeah, man. So there's still hope for us. There's still hope for us.
Yeah,
you know?
not that I want to have kids that old, but
yeah, same. Yeah, man. I'm just so focused on my career. It's like I right now I can't slow down. You know, and one day, you know, but not 2 days.
Yeah.
And that's just, I'm going to leave it at that, man. But I just want to say it was a pleasure having you on my show today.
It was great to be here, man. You asked some incredible questions, man.
And
you get the most out of the interview.
Hey, I'm trying to, man. You know, I'm trying to please the consumer, as you say. You know, I need my audience to really get the information they need so they can move to the next level and what they want, what they visualize their life in becoming. You know, a lot of them want a career in entertainment, you know, in real estate, maybe want to be an actor. So I try to get the questions that they need to provide the tools and the fuel they need to succeed. You know what I'm saying? And I hope I'm providing that information that you guys need. Thank you for enjoying another episode of Sleep is for Billionaires, the podcast. Gregory Eubanks, Johnny Vegas. Where can the people follow you, my brother?
They can follow me on Instagram, GBanks NLA. That's spelled GBanks GBANKS INLA. So GBanks NLA. You can follow me there.
There you go. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more episodes to come.
Grab me some water, man.
I got you. My bad.
I don't know what's going on, man.